rough diamond at that time. And Terence taught him everything he knew.
I think he really sort of coached Sean how to be James Bond. He had a maximum amount of style.
He had an enormous influence on creating James Bond in the person of Sean.
This real style and the movement of the piece was Terence Young stamped all over it.
If you asked what were the three ingredients for Dr. No, for James Bond, it was Sean Connery, Sean Connery, and Sean Connery.
There was a very high-level meeting. We discussed at great length the character of Bond, the type of things he would have, whether he would have cufflinks, a tie pin, an identity chain, what watch he was wearing, what sort of wallet he would carry. In those days, it was not the gas lighter, it was the old petrol lighter.
Terence really took me in hand and sort of knocked me into shape with his tailor and Turnbull and Asser shirts and all the gear.
The only gimmick, if I may call it such, is the one where he carries his gun, and the whole art of the thing is to cut the suit in such a way to where just that little bit fuller so that it follows the contour of the figure.
007 suits must take quite a lot of wear and tear, yet still look good.
You've got to put guts into that so that whatever you do to the suit, if you can do that, you see what I'm doing now. Any well-made suit, you should be able to take it, roll it into a ball, crush it, stamp on it, sleep in it, and then there you are, you're back again, you see.
Connery's dress shirts are made by Turnbull and Asser.
Terence Young brought a young Sean Connery into Turnbull and Asser, introduced him to the shop and the fitters here. What we did for Bond was design a very stylish sartorial shirt with a double cuff, but instead of using a cufflink to fasten the cuff, we put 2 buttons on the cuff. This made it easy for Bond to put the shirt on and also easy for Bond to take the shirt off.
To get a feel for the finely tailored clothes, Terence Young reportedly asked Connery to sleep in his new suit. Connery obliges and is amazed when the suit feels just as comfortable when he awakens after a full night's rest.
Concept was always take what Fleming had created and let's put it on the screen.
For the filmmaker, this means taking the production to Jamaica. The filmmakers ask Ian Fleming to help find someone in Jamaica to help scout locations.
Ian recommended me to be the kind of local guy. They wanted to scout locations, so I took them all around scouting locations, and we all got on very well. I became very close friends.
Blackwell helps the crew find some of the most exotic spots in Jamaica. Meanwhile, the filmmakers fill out the cast in London. For the role of the half-Chinese, half-German Dr. No, Ian Fleming suggests his close friend Noel Coward, and even sends a telegram on behalf of the filmmakers.
Ian wired Noel Coward and asked him if he would play Dr. No. And a telegram came back saying, no, no, no.
The producers come up with an exceptional second choice. Noted New York actor Joseph Wiseman. The part requires the actor to wear cumbersome metallic gloves and bothersome makeup applications to simulate an Asian heritage. Terence Young taps American Jack Lord to play CIA agent Felix Leiter.
Mine's a guy in Washington. Felix Leiter, Central Intelligence Agency.
Director Young turns to a longtime friend, Anthony Dawson, to play Professor Dent. John Kitzmiller, an accomplished American actor living in Europe, signs on to play Quarrel, the Jamaican boatman. Terence Young must also cast an ensemble of actors who are meant to become recurring characters, including Bond's chief, who is known only by the letter M. Bernard Lee proves the perfect match for the role. An unfortunate tragedy leads Lois Maxwell to become part of the James Bond family. Her husband suffers from a massive heart attack.
I called producers and directors with whom I had worked before, and Terence rang me and said, I want you to come to Cubby Broccoli's office because I want to talk to you about a couple of parts. And you can either have the part of Miss Moneypenny, the secretary, or the part of the glamour girl. And the glamour girl was first seen in Bond's pajama tops, and I didn't fancy myself in his pajama tops.
Actress Eunice Gayson has already acted in films for director Terence Young.
He said, I'm going to do this new series of James Bond, and I'd like to write you in a character called Sylvia.
Terence Young fills out the cast with an experienced actress, Sina Marshall, who, like Joseph Wiseman, must wear a makeup application to look Asian. One major part remains to be cast before the crew travels to Jamaica: the orphaned seashell collector, Honey Rider. Producer Cubby Broccoli and Harry Saltzman find themselves 2 weeks away from shooting, but have yet to fill the role, until Harry Saltzman finds a photograph taken by actor John Derrick of his wife.
John took some photographs of me in Greece, and I had a black T-shirt on, and I was all wet.
The pair arranged to send the script to the unknown actress, offering her the role of Honey Rider without ever meeting her face to face.
One day, Cook Douglas came over, and we were all sitting around, and he said, well, they offered me this film. I said, well, let's read it. Let's see what it is, because I didn't read it yet. And so then he began to read, and we were all, there on the floor laughing and having fun with it. And then Cook said, also, you have to do it. It's fun, it's easy, you have to do it.
During his location scouting trip to Jamaica, Terence Young finds other cast members.
I was working with BWIA at the ticket counter at the airport. And I remember a gentleman coming in front of my position, and he said, would you like to be in the movies? So I said, certainly, sir. May I have your ticket, please? He said, you don't understand. I am going to be making a series of movies which will become the most famous in the whole world.
Terence Young eventually convinces the flight attendant, who also happens to be the reigning Miss Jamaica, to come to an audition.
They had me reading for a part where I was supposed to be wrapped in a towel, lying on a bed, kissing a strange man. I said, I cannot lie in a towel on a bed kissing him. My parents would object. Well, they sort of looked at me as though, is this girl crazy? And then I read for the lesser part, which was the part of the photographer in the film.
Margaret Loise and her sister Barbara Loise were the two most beautiful girls in Jamaica, just stunning looking.
Timothy Moxon, a London stage actor turned Caribbean crop duster, is cast as MI6 agent Strangways after a chance encounter.
I just happened to be sitting in the Courtly Manor Hotel, and I knew Terence Young actually from way back before, and I said to him, he said, yes, I've got a little part you can do in the beginning of the thing.
During the first week of January 1962, the crew of Dr. No flies to Jamaica. Filming begins on January the 16th, 1962, with scene 39. Bond walking past the photographer.
My first day of shooting was shattering. First of all, the entire body of my co-workers somehow managed to leave their positions to come and look at me, and I was very nervous. Terence Young gave me this camera to use, and this camera seemed to have a crank handle and levers and dials and bulbs, and he explained how to use it once. I think I had Sean walking up and down about 9 times before we got it right.
Just before noon, the crew has completed the first shot of Sean Connery as James Bond. For the very next setup, Terence Young adds a sexy yet villainous touch.
He said to me, I want you to lick the flashbulb. And I said, but that's yucky, that's evil. He said, you are supposed to be evil.
The first week's shooting turns out to be something of a family affair for Margaret Loise. Her brother-in-law, Reggie Carter, noted as one of Jamaica's top actors, plays the chauffeur, Mr. Jones.
Reggie Carter was one of the main actors in something called the Little Theatre in Jamaica.
He was a fine actor.
On January the 18th, Bob Simmons choreographs the first of over 100 action scenes he will stage for the Bond films. His hard-hitting, high-impact style stamps the series from the very beginning. By January the 24th, the crew shoots a sequence where music plays a key role. Preparation begins months earlier with the hiring of Monty Norman, one of the hottest composers in the London theatre scene.
They told me that they were going to do Dr. No. I was intrigued, so I said, let me have a think about it. But then Harry Saltzman gave me the clincher. He said, we're doing 12 weeks or so in Jamaica, and if you like, you can come out, do some of the work there, and bring your wife. So I said, I'll do it.
Composer Monty Norman works with Byron Lee and the Dragoneers to create the first hit song for a James Bond film.
When we went to one or two of the big clubs there, these wonderful open-air clubs where everybody was going wild, dancing, they were doing this thing called the jump up.
Byron Lee and the Dragoneers, this was a very famous band in Jamaica.
Terence Young wanted some melody to give to the Byron Lee Orchestra so that they could play it live and wild while the dance was going on. It became quite a hit in Jamaica.
Byron Lee, at the time that Dr. No was being filmed, was the biggest band in Jamaica. And today, in 1999, Byron Lee is the biggest band in Jamaica. It's unbelievable.
The star musician